Have you ever wondered why American foreign policy seems to be stumbling? From the rising tensions with China to the prolonged conflict in Ukraine and the escalating crisis in Gaza, it feels like we're watching a series of diplomatic missteps unfold in real time. What's really going on behind the headlines? Today, we are incredibly honored to have Ambassador Chas Freeman with us to shed some light on these complex issues. Ambassador Freeman is a distinguished American diplomat, author, and former Assistant Secretary of Defense for International Security Affairs. His insights are born from decades of direct experience in the highest echelons of foreign policy. Welcome, Ambassador. Ambassador, let's start with China. For decades, the US pursued a policy of engagement. Now it seems we've shifted to one of strategic competition, even confrontation. From your perspective, where did our diplomacy go wrong? Was this shift inevitable, or was it a failure of American statecraft to adapt to China's rise? It seems we've moved from seeing China as a partner to viewing it almost exclusively as a rival. What were the key turning points that led us down this path, and what have been the consequences of this adversarial approach for both American interests and global stability? It's fascinating how you frame that. It suggests that perhaps we misread the signals or fail to appreciate the nuances of China's own strategic calculations. This leads us to our second major topic, Ukraine. The conflict there has been devastating. The official US narrative is that this was an unprovoked act of aggression, and our role is to support Ukraine's sovereignty. But many, including yourself, have argued that NATO expansion played a significant role in creating the conditions for this conflict. Could you elaborate on how American and Western diplomacy in the post-Cold War era might have contributed to the current crisis? Were there missed opportunities for a different kind of security architecture in Europe that might have averted this war? That's a powerful critique. It raises profound questions about the long-term strategic thinking behind our European policy. Now let's turn to the heart-wrenching situation in Gaza. The US has traditionally positioned itself as a key mediator in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, yet our recent diplomatic efforts seem to have had little effect in stopping the violence or advancing a two-state solution. In fact, many would say US policy has been one-sided. How do you assess America's diplomatic performance in this crisis? Have we lost our credibility as an honest broker? And what would a more effective, more balanced diplomatic approach actually look like in this incredibly difficult and sensitive situation? Your point about being an arsonist and a fireman is incredibly striking. It seems to encapsulate a common theme across all three of these regions. If you were to identify a single overarching flaw in current American diplomacy, what would it be? Is it a lack of strategic empathy, an over-reliance on military solutions, a failure to listen, or something else entirely? It feels as though we've moved away from the art of negotiation and persuasion, which you are a master of, and toward a more coercive, less imaginative approach to world affairs. Why do you think this has happened? That's a sobering diagnosis. So, looking forward, what is the path back? How can the United States reclaim a more effective and respected diplomatic posture on the world stage? If you were advising the next president, what would be the first three things you'd tell them to change about how America engages with the world? Is it a matter of changing personnel, changing policies, or changing the fundamental mindset that has guided our foreign policy for the last few decades? It seems like a monumental task, but there must be a starting point for rebuilding trust and effectiveness. Ambassador, you've spoken about the need to prioritize interests over values or ideology in foreign policy. Can you expand on that? Many Americans believe our foreign policy should be a reflection of our democratic values. How do you reconcile the pragmatic pursuit of national interests with the moral and ethical dimensions that many people feel are essential to America's identity on the global stage? Can we be both pragmatic and principled, or are we often forced to choose between the two in these complex geopolitical landscapes we've discussed today? That really clarifies the distinction. It's not about abandoning our values, but understanding when and how to apply them effectively in a world that doesn't always share them. Before we let you go, Ambassador, one final question. For the average citizen watching this, who feels concerned about the direction of our foreign policy, what can they do? It often feels like these decisions are made in a distant capital, far removed from our daily lives. How can ordinary people stay informed and make their voices heard on these critical issues that shape our world and our future? Ambassador Chas Freeman, thank you so much for your time and for sharing your unparalleled insights with us today. Your clarity and candor have been incredibly illuminating, giving us a much deeper understanding of the challenges facing American diplomacy. And to everyone watching, thank you for joining this important conversation. If you found this discussion valuable, please hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss our future content. We'd also love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think is the biggest challenge for US foreign policy today? Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.